afternoon. I am Terry Cannon and I own and operate Wolfpack Artisans, or WP Artisans, on Etsy.com. And today I am going to show you how to make something like this right here, which is a feathered earring. Alright, supplies you will need is feathers. You don't necessarily have to have the printed feathers. This is just what I had on hand. It's okay to go and buy craft feathers. Preferably try to get the more natural ones, maybe a few exotic colors like peacock feathers or something like that. Not too many people like the bright reds and yellows and blues, you know, the kid feathers, as I like to call them. You will also need some kind of thread or twine, or maybe even red round leather cord. Right here I have 10, and it is small. It's 1mm beige, not tan. It's a little spool. You can find these at most craft stores. You will need earring wires, something like this right here. You don't necessarily have to go with that style. And you will need some jump rings. You will probably need something a little bigger, but you can use this size. This size is fine. As you can see here, I have this size. And you don't necessarily have to bead them. I mean, this is just an example of what I do. Right here is what I'm going to show you how to do, is to wrap the feather. And you're probably going to need some jewelry and bead glue. This stuff is industrial strength adhesive, so be very careful when using it. I usually have a paper towel or something close by me to wipe off the excess, or to place the glue down when I'm done using it, because I have learned that this stuff, even when I use it, the caps tend to seal on the glue, so I usually leave the cap off on mine. And most craft stores have these along with the tips included with the kit. I usually go for this size because usually this size, you know, will last me for a good long while. Alright, well, let's get started. Let's move these out of the way. I think I will go with these right here. I'll show you how to use these. Alright, now if you use feathers that are printed in packages like this, do be very careful when pulling them out, because sometimes they will get a little damaged if you can't tell. I mean, you can see where this feather has been kind of moved around in the package, so it looks a little rough around the edges. But for this today, we're going to use it. Alright, leather twine. Oh, and I forgot, you're going to need scissors. Make sure you have scissors. Alright. And yes, I am using my laptop as a way to show off the feathers, because my tabletop and everything else is a little too light. Now then, it's according to how long you want your earrings to droop. These, when you put them up in your ears, will probably be roughly shoulder length, or what they call shoulder dusters, so that these will touch your shoulders. Of course, you don't necessarily have to make them that long. You can make your loop, which I'll show you how to do, a little closer to that to make them shorter. So it's up to you how you want to make them. You can also add other feathers in with your design. You don't necessarily have to use just one feather. You can make a staggered design, stacking on one on top of the other, or making multiple feathers on one earring. These are singles. You can double up, triple it. It's according to what kind of look you're looking for. Alright. I've done enough talking. Let's get this started. think I'm going to go and use about that much right there today. Alright, and I will cut my cord. Alright, and I'm going to start off by showing you the back side of the feather. You'll see this vein that runs up the feather. Alright, you take your cord and you will put a length of it, depending on how far you want to wrap it, on the back side. Line it up with the vein. Alright, make sure you have, you know, a good grip on it without damaging the feather. And get as close as the tip as you can. Alright, and what I do is I start wrapping the cord up in the feather. And of course, there's probably other tutorials out there that shows you how to do it in different ways, and you may go do it in a way that's easiest for you. This is just, you know, the easiest method I know, and it's easiest for me. If it wants to be a little problematic, just realign it and start over. I try to fold the feather pieces in so it kind of covers up the leather cord like it done in this one. That, and I like how it looks. Kind of looks exotic. Go back to my feather and redo this one. I might want to use this one instead. This one might do better. Okay, line it up, and then you start wrapping. Now this is a little time consuming. This will take you a little while. And try to keep it as close together as you can. Alright, now you can stop wherever you want, wherever looks good. You can make it this length or this length. It's however you want to do it. And then what I do is I tie it off. I bring it around and through the hole. You know, just your basic tie. Make sure it's on the feather and not on just on the cord. You want it on the feather. Well, look at me. I can't even tie today. Alright, we'll just do it in a different direction. Oh, I'm sorry, you probably couldn't see that. Alright, bring it around. And you want to tie the cord to the feather. Now, I try to adjust it to where the tie portion is on the back. If you can't see that, there we go. Alright. And some leather cords may be a little on the soft side, so try not to jerk it too hard. Alright. That's phase one. Okay. Now what I do is I come up here, because I usually end up beading mine, which, by the way, you want to find beads that, if you're going to bead them, that will fit down on your cord. So it is very imperative you pick something that, if you plan on beading, will fit through the beads. Here I use wooden beads because the holes in the beads are rather large, and I won't have to worry about stressing over getting the leather cord and it splitting or whatever through the beads. Okay. Then I like to go and tie it at the tip. Somewhere near the top. On the leather's fine. You don't necessarily have to be on the vein. Just somewhere near the top or tip. And I don't know if you can watch me, and make sure you tie it just like you did it down here at the bottom. And I try to keep it, you know, in line and straight with what's on the bottom. Like here. As you can see here. And just give it a good tug. Alright, next part, next phase, is I like to use a little glue. It just adds strength to it. Now, if your glue will not come out the tip, if you've let it sit for a little while, you can take something like this wire or something that'll fit down in here and just poke it all the way through. And what that'll do is that'll clear the tube, the nozzle of glue. So that way when you mash it, new glue will come out. And since I'm using my laptop, I'm going to momentarily put this feather on this piece of paper towel. Now, if it should come loose, if you didn't tie that tight enough, just make sure you just, you know, easy as you can, tighten it down so that way it's tight. Alright, get your glue, and as you can see, a drop or two must have came out. And as you can see, my glue's already coming out of my thing. I put it down here at the bottom where I tied it. And make sure I cover the, you know, the knot pretty good. That way I know it will stay. Alright, you don't have to use near as much glue as I do. It's just something I do for myself. And just a little over here. Just keep working in the glue where it needs to be so that way it will stay and not come apart while in wear. Alright, any excess you can, you know, kindly wipe off, get off the cord, and you set it off to the side to dry. And I'm going to move my glue out of the way. It usually takes a little while for this stuff to dry, but it is advisable to wait 24 to 48 hours before you put this in the shop or wear it. To give the time for the glue to set and set dry really well. Bead wise, let me see if I have something on hand to use that will fit. Okay, here we go. We'll use some, plastic pony beads. I have a hole in my bag. I have different kinds of plastic beads. And you don't necessarily have to match the colors in the feather, but if you, like me, you like to match colors. So I will get out a few different kinds here. Let's go with this color and this color here. Alright, now you can use any kind of beads you want to. You don't necessarily have to use pony beads. You can use smaller beads so long as the holes are, you know, big enough, like something like these. So long as the thread that you're using will go through them. It's whatever you want to use. Some stuff you won't be able to use unless you use something like fishing line or something like that. These right here will not fit too well on these. I mean, they may to a certain extent. Some of the holes may be big enough. It's just trial and error. Little tiny seed beads like these are very hard unless you use like cleared nylon or what I call fishing line. So keep that, you know, keep that in mind when you go to make them. Make sure you have something that the holes are going to be big enough. I forgot I had these. I think instead I'm going to use these, but I may use a pony bead as a stopper bead. Okay, what is a stopper bead? A stopper bead is often put at the end of a line of beads to prevent anything else from going past that point. So you could use like for example a pony bead, and put it on top here, which I'm going to use a white one. I like white. Okay, and it'll match the little floral beads. Now then, the glue ain't quite dry on this, so I'm not going to push down too much. Now, if you'd like, you can glue the bead to this portion. I just kind of like slid it down on the vein on that, so that way it kind of holds together. And I'm going to try not to touch the glue because it is still wet. Alright. And the holes in these should fit on the cord. Yep. And then you can just put as many or as few as you'd like. And as you can see, you know, it creates a really cute design. And I also have these right here that were started to roll. It's like little glittery splatter paint beads. And there we go. See, that looks cute. Alright. Last but not least, once you have beaded it the way you want it, whatever beads you want to use, pony beads, glass beads, whatever that will fit on your cord, what I like to do is then tie off the end of the earring to be, which you may have to maneuver. I guess you can see where I'm starting to tie it. See here. Okay. And you tie it as close to the bead as possible. Now, if you're working with something that has larger holes, I do suggest putting a little bit of glue, like I did on these. You can't really tell it, but there's glue here at the inside these beads here and attached to the knot, which I go back and I re-glue the knots so that way they stay put and will not come out. It might be better if I move my finger out of the way. Okay. See? Okay. Alright. I usually glue that knot and then make my loop after it dries. I kind of do this in a slow process, just in case something were to go wrong and I can go back and fix whatever goes wrong on the design. Alright, I make a loop similar to what I did here, so that way it's easier to attach jump rings. And not to mention, you won't have to worry about tying your jump ring to your cord and it looking kind of tacky. This way you can attach your jump ring, as seen here, the little gold one. I like the bigger looped jump rings. And make sure you match your metals, not gold on silver, but, you know, maybe gold on gold, silver on silver, whatever colors you're going through. I just grabbed an earring wire, what I had on hand. Alright. Okay, now to make the loop. You can make the loop as big or as small as you want. On these, I thought it was pretty neat doing a large loop, because it looked like it was more handcrafted, I guess. Alright, now you may have to do some moving around to get the twine, the cord, whatever you're using to do what you want it to do. Because at this point, if you didn't cut you enough, it may get a little bit of a problem getting the loop the way you want it. And I'm sitting here trying to do this incorrectly. Make sure you wrap around the loop and then stick your cord through the tie loop, not the loop you're making, not this one, but the one you're going to tie off the cord. It may take a few tries to get it. Alright. And you try to put it as close to that knot you made as possible. And then pull gently, not too hard if you're using soft leather lace, round cord, whatever, because it will break if you pull too hard. Alright, there we go. And we just add a few drops of glue, trim off any excess or anything that you need to, and there you have it. That is your beaded feather ring earring. And you just attach your jump ring to the loop like seen here, and then attach it to your earring wire, and then you're ready to go. Let them dry for 24 to 48 hours, and then all you have to do is put them in your shop, give them as gifts, whatever you feel like doing with them. And I hope you enjoyed the tutorial on how to make these simple but cute little feathered earrings. Thank you, and you have a wonderful day.